Hi, my name is David Dunsworth, and I'm going to be giving a informative speech about water polo. These are my speakers.
Audience,
my bad. These are my audience members. And so water polo. Let me tell you about water polo. I actually played water polo for a couple years in high school and played for a year in college, so I know a little bit about it. So water polo was first started in the early 1800s when British hostel owners wanted to create more revenue and create more guests coming in and out of their hostels. So they created these little games with rubber balls that they would help play in lakes and rivers and just kind of areas around the hostel that would draw in more revenue, more guests, like I said earlier. So this kind of became more of a norm throughout the early 1900s when it was officially accepted by the FINA, the International Aquatics Association. So they accepted it as a sport and said that nations could create teams and allow athletes to compete against one another for other opportunities. As well as it recently moved over to the United States, I believe it was 1911, by John Robinson, was the first guy that actually ended up moving over and showing people what water polo was in the United States. And so after that, I think the first Olympics that it actually was able to be an actual competition in with nations and representations of other countries was the 1900 Paris Olympics, where nations competed against each other for the first time in water polo events. That was actually known and synchronized. And so now I guess I'll actually tell you about the rules of water polo. So the rules for water polo, there's 2 teams of 6 people, and there's 2 goalies. There's 1 goalie for each team. So after that, the markings on the water polo field are very similar to kind of a soccer field. There's 2 goals on either side that are floating. The ball floats as well, and it's made out of rubber, kind of like a basketball. And then following that, there's also meter markers on the sides. So there's a marker 2 meters from the goal, there's a marker 5 meters from the goal, and each mark has a respective reason for why it's placed there. So the 2 meter mark is usually used for when the ball is out of play or a shot is missed. They'll reset the ball at the 2 meter mark and act like it's almost a corner kick like a soccer team can do. Pass the ball in and it restarts play. As well as if you're fouled inside the 2 meter mark, like a serious foul like preventing a goal, disallowing a scoring opportunity, or just a malicious foul, you will be rewarded a kick out. So a kick out is when you get removed from the game for a possession, just like in hockey, like a power play. So you get removed for a possession and your team has to play 1 possession down without you, trying to see if they can prevent a score. The 5 meter mark is usually where fouls are starting to get judged. So if you get fouled inside the 5 meter mark, it's usually a direct free shot, which usually ignores a direct free kick in soccer. You're allowed to shoot on goal as long as you're inside 5 meters and allow the goalie the opportunity to move beforehand. So following that, 5 meter rule also allows people to not be offsides. It prohibits people from flooring as well as other stuff like that, similar to like what soccer is like. So now, I guess I'll tell you a little bit more about water polo outside of just the technical aspects, but actually what it's like in the world right now. So currently, the biggest superpowers in the world for water polo are going to be your Eastern European countries such as Hungary, Siberia, as well as a couple of Asian countries such as Japan and others like Indonesia. So these countries have kind of grown up around water polo their whole lives. The Hungarians were introduced into it in the early 1900s and were able to kind of really refine their tactics, refine who they were, and refine the country as a nation to get behind water polo and really be the driving sport for their nation. As well as on the women's side, women weren't actually allowed to play water polo in the Olympics till the 2000 Olympics in Sydney, which is unbelievable to me. So actually, surprisingly enough, it's usually Western European countries or the United States as a whole are usually the most dominant when it comes to international water polo players or international competitions, whether it be Olympics or World Championships or just world competitions like scrimmages or friendlies. Which, surprisingly enough, I think the U.S. is placed in the top 3 in every Olympics that we've had since 2000, which will be roughly about 4 Olympics. And then for the collegiate side of water polo, a lot of colleges usually contribute to the western side of the United States, so California, Seattle, that kind of area. A lot of big water polo schools like UCLA, USC, and Cal Poly, Caltech are the schools that are really going to have your big generational gap of water polo players coming out, as well as the eastern side, where there are going to be schools in New York, schools in New Jersey, as well as schools along the east coast of Boston and Massachusetts, where a lot of water polo is kind of being developed out there. So that was my informative speech about water polo. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and thanks.